All right, so before we officially get started, um, I'm using my computer built-in webcam to shoot this because I don't trust my camera, to capture more than like 3 minutes at a time because it might set itself on fire. I don't really trust my camera that much. So if you don't like the quality, I'm sorry, but this is the most I trust my web camera more than I do my actual camera for something like this, where I have no idea how long we're going to be shooting for. Number two, I really, really wanted to do this particular movie, and even before I start up my official series, because this vlog, let's consider it a sort of sneak peek at what I want to be doing in the future. Let's just say that this movie is a big hint on the type of show that I want to make. Without further ado, Goosebumps.
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 I'm a huge fan of the book series. Extremely huge fan. Now, is it great? No. No, it's not great. In fact, I wouldn't even say I was scared of it as a kid. I was more fascinated by it. Especially the supernatural elements, because even as a kid, I loved that kind of stuff. But the hype for this movie for me began a long time ago when I first saw a photo set on Tumblr showing like monsters and stuff, and Jack Black as R.L. Stine and a couple of the kids in a car or something.
Yeah.
I remember saying, is this fake? Because it doesn't look fake. It looks real, and I need to see this. But as you can tell, the hype kind of built up for me more and more, even as the trailers came out and then more information came out, until, like, every time, and you can ask her this, every time I saw the trailer in theaters or while we were at home, and every time it came on, I was like, look, it is, look. And I was very excited. Did it live up to my personal hype? Yes. But only because I expected it to be stupid. While you go into this kind of thing, you really don't expect it to be anything smart.
Well, it's because the books are, when you look at them now, they're like super cliched.
Yeah.
Very cliched. Like, bare bones, if this was a movie, people would whine and complain that it was too cliche.
Yeah.
And too almost one note.
I guess. I mean,
the characters only have so much personality.
Well, because they're kids' books, and the kids have to appeal to the kids who are reading them, no matter who they are.
Exactly. So, this movie is essentially like if you took what you consider a Goosebumps book, whether it's from the original series, the 2000 series, or whatever they have now.
I think it's called Horrorland or something. It's something that centers around Horrorland.
Yeah. And turned it into a movie adaptation.
Yes.
Now, does that mean that it's faithful? Kinda. In both the good way and the bad way, in that because it is very much a cliched progression and kind of cliched characters. But if you're thinking of it in terms of the source material, it kind of works. At the same time, it's gonna drive you a little nuts. And it is kind of
cliche.
Goofy and cliche.
Goofy and cliche. And I'd agree with that. But yeah, if I was going to adapt a movie like this isn't like a Goosebumps story come to life. It's not like you took, say, The Haunted Mask, or Say Cheese and Die, or Let's Get Invisible, and put it on the big screen. This is like you took the world of Goosebumps, like all of it, and you put it up on the big screen. For better and for worse, because it definitely follows the Goosebumps formula to a T. A kid, or in this case, sort of a
teenager,
older teenager, moves to a new place with his single parent, and comes across something supernatural, and there's a huge climax that's sort of implausible, really goofy, and over the top, and then the last page twist. There's literally a last page twist to this movie. We're going to try to keep this relatively spoiler-free.
Yeah, because it's brand new, and, well, it only has so much plot and spoiler material. It's just, if you like Goosebumps, you probably have already seen it, or will see it.
Okay, again, I loved it, because I'm a huge Goosebumps fan. What did you think of it again?
I thought it was okay. As a movie, it was okay. It plays into that cliche thing that I mentioned. As a nostalgia trip for the books and R.L. Stine in general, it was great. It was fun. Honestly, that's the main word. It was fun. But for me, it was like, this is a movie I would not see over and over and over again, because personally, even despite its flaws, I was more of an Annie Morse kid.
Yeah, okay.
I got into the Goosebumps. I liked the Goosebumps, but Annie Morse was my jam.
Okay.
And so for me, it doesn't hold as much nostalgia, although I am still a 90s kid, as it would for you or
Yes.
others.
So if you love this book, if you love the Goosebumps books, and their cheesiness and their over-the-topness, and their, it could be spooky, but that wasn't necessarily the focus, you're going to love this movie because, again, it follows the Goosebumps formula to a T. Nostalgia's the big word here, because I might be looking at this film through, like, rose-colored glasses, through nostalgia goggles, but I could see myself watching this every Halloween, especially as a kid. Like, this could be easily on the same level as Hocus Pocus and Casper and stuff like that for me.
Well, yeah, like, if this had been remotely what it is only, let's say, 20 to 30 years ago or something, like, I could see people that grew up with it as kids being like, oh my god, it's Goosebumps on the big screen. So, I guess what I'm saying is, if you want, like, I feel like this is a combination of a person's love for Goosebumps, this movie. If you want adaptation, faithful adaptation, the TV show is there. If you want certain books in adaptation form, TV show. But if you want, like, to indulge in some nostalgia, though, go see the movie. Easily.
And you know what? The perfect way I would describe this movie. It's a combination of Hocus Pocus, Jumanji, because the creatures coming out of the books reminded me a lot of Jumanji.
Yeah.
Especially the effects.
Yeah.
And I would even add in a dash of the ending of Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Well, because it's over the top and all those monsters and like a whole bunch of faces and all of them doing something different.
And when we say that this has, like, stuff from basically every series up to date of Goosebumps, it's not at all a lie. There are different monsters from various books spanning each series that somebody, no matter what generation you're from up to this point, somebody's gonna go, hey, I know that one.
Well, okay. Here's some credence to the fact that I'm a huge freaking nerd. Every time a monster or a reference was made on the screen, I would say, Cuckoo Clock of Doom. The Night of the Living Dummy. Oh, I think that's the Ghost Next Door. I think I was bugging you a little bit. Or maybe you were just smiling because I was a huge freaking nerd. But
the second one.
Anyway. It's kind of to the film's detriment that it has so many creatures in it, because honestly, there were a few monsters that I didn't recognize, but I haven't read every single Goosebumps book. Yeah. But even still, there was one that I have no idea why it got a friggin' mention, the haunted car makes an appearance. I hate the haunted car. The haunted car is probably one of the worst Goosebumps books I have ever read. But even still, there's too many references, and at the same time, there's not enough.
It just...
Well,
after a while, I was just like... I kind of wanted to see more of just the monsters.
exactly.
The main characters, I mean, they're your stock typical, even for a movie, they're your stock typical, like, here's a single parent, here's a kid who lost a parent, here's this weird dude that lives next door, like...
Hold on. Before we get to the characters, like the main characters, I want to talk a little bit more about the monsters because, okay, so the film has a tendency to focus on, like, 3 main monsters, which is, of course, Slappy, the big villain, and I expected that. Like, Slappy deserved no less than being the big villain of the picture.
Yeah. He's like the face of Goosebumps.
Then the other... I said 3, there's really 4. The other 3 monsters that they tended to focus on were the abominable snowman of Pasadena, the Shocker, the big praying mantis from Shocker on Shock Street, and the werewolf of Fever Swamp. And that's a real disappointment because I wanted to have like a focus on the Haunted Mask and some other big names.
Yeah, like, it's not really giving much away, but you do see plenty of other monsters and creatures through the movie. The problem is that...
They don't get a focus.
Yeah, you kind of want them to get a focus because you're like, hey, I know them, and they do cool things, and they're just kind of there as background, basically. Whereas
the main characters, and let's actually talk about them, they're fine. I mean, I did not have any problem with the main guy. What was his name? Jesse? No. Jesse was from Paranormal Activity last night.
Oh my gosh, I already forgot his name.
Well, that kind of tells you something, because nobody reads the Goosebumps books for the main characters. They read it for the monsters. And the monsters didn't get as much of a spotlight as I wanted to see it. But anyway, the main characters, the main guy whose name escapes me, he was fine. I mean, he wasn't bad. He wasn't annoying.
No, he was basically like your stock, at least for Goosebumps, your stock, like, I'm the main dude. If you're anybody else in the audience, I'm basically like almost a blank slate, but not quite. Like, you could put yourself in my place, but I still have character, I still have, like, I have history, I'm moving to this new town, and that sort of thing, where it's basically, like, the plot doesn't kick off without him, type of thing. He helps set the things in motion.
He sets everything in motion, and that's true. The side characters weren't that bad either. I mean, the comic relief best friend started off extremely annoying. And I would even say that he didn't get much development through the film, because he kind of just stayed at the comic relief sidekick level.
He wasn't... I know you thought he was kind of funny. I didn't think he was that great.
I thought, okay, he was very, very annoying at the beginning of the film, but he grew on me. I thought he was a lot better by the end, but that doesn't mean he grew as a character. No. He just got more tolerable.
He got a moment or two as a character, but it was just like the way they set him up. He's just basically the sidekick. He's basically supposed to be like, haha, laugh at me, I am weak and
he even had that
cat
look.
And la la. Yes,
like that
he had the look. He
yeah.
had the look of a goofy, like, especially for Goosebumps, a goofy, like, I'm the annoying best friend who's funny sidekick.
Right. The love interest was alright, also okay.
Honestly, there's a lot to the movie that does revolve around her, besides being the fact that she's a love interest. I mean, she does have a part to play. But honestly, when the movie first started, I kind of wanted to be just following her. Because she seemed interesting to me.
Well, we couldn't do that.
Well, of course not, but that's into...
Well, that's not to say that Goosebumps... I mean, Haunted Mask had a woman main character, and that's one of the best ones, but...
Well, yeah. I just found that I kind of wish we had gotten to know even more about her, sort of thing. Like, a bit more fleshed out would have been nice. But
Yeah, okay.
she was likable. And the romance thing was, it was just kind of like your typical teenage, okay, we spent time together and obviously they get in peril.
Right.
But, yay, love.
And then
it was fine, it was cute.
Then there's Jack Black, and I've never seen a movie with Jack Black in it where I didn't enjoy his character. I never saw Gulliver's Travels, so I can't even talk to that. But there's a very, very nice throw-in gag to the fact that he was in Gulliver's Travels. I love that. That was very funny. But anyway, I thought he was great. I thought he was really good as R.L. Stine. He's nothing like the actual guy. Like,
No.
absolutely
No,
for like the actual guy.
I haven't seen much of R.L. Stine in person, but I could just say, for the part he had to play and for what he had to do, he was good. He was good.
I would say it was great.
The one thing
best role of his career.
The one thing I'm gonna say is that it gets a bit of time. It's a bit getting used to, but he has this kind of voice that he's doing that I don't think I could be totally wrong, but I don't think is how the actual R.L. Stine is supposed to sound.
Definitely not.
So it was kind of jarring, and it was weird, and through the movie it was just like, alright, well, after a while, it kind of just...
I got used to it pretty quick.
But
again, I think I'm looking through this movie a little bit through rose-colored glasses, because, again, Goosebumps to me, kind of.
Well,
but
I can say that eventually I got used to it, but most of the time it was just like, okay, what is this voice? Why this voice?
As for all other adult characters, typical Goosebumps stuff. Meaning, either they're completely ineffectual or completely annoying.
Yeah.
So, like the two cops.
Were pointless.
Pointless and unnecessary and not funny. Not funny at all.
I don't even know what their names were. Like, you don't get any sense of...
No, they didn't say their names.
Yeah, well, there's no sense of character, and I know this is another typical kind of Goosebumps thing, that the side adult characters don't really get much character, but for a movie, it's like, they were throwaways, basically. Yeah. They were complete throwaways. The main guy's aunt, she was annoying. And
horribly annoying.
It wasn't.
God.
It wasn't so much like. It wasn't even so much like I'm perky and quirky. It was like that times a million of annoying, and she served basically no purpose.
She has some kind of okay. Even more than that, though, you know what was worse than that? That guy that kept going up to the mom. He didn't nothing happened with him. I was waiting for the joke. Never came. I was waiting for the plot line with him. I honestly thought he was going to be a monster or something.
Yeah.
And nothing happened with him.
This guy is basically the whole reason they're in this town in Delaware is because the mom got a job as a vice principal, and the father recently died, and they wanted a fresh start. Well, they said it was like a year ago, but whatever.
Recently.
And there's this teacher or somebody on the staff that starts hitting on her through the movie, but nothing comes of it. That's really not a spoiler. It's just kind of a dangling plot.
It's a dangling plot. It's a plot canyon. It doesn't do anything.
But honestly, just as bad, if not worse, was there's this girl that quirky sidekick guy likes. She gets literally like 2 appearances.
One appearance where she says nothing, and then another appearance where she has literally 2 lines. And that's it. Like, she was completely unnecessary as a character.
It's the most unbelievable romance of the whole thing. Depending, your mileage might vary on that, because there's a couple different romances in this thing, but that one was
Which is weird. You wouldn't think of Goosebumps and think romancy movie.
Well, I mean, they kind of get away with it because they boosted the age to high schoolers, so...
Okay, I keep making parallels to this, but you know what the romance between main guy and love interest reminded me of? the romance between the main guy and the love interest of Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Because they bond over a night. A little bit more than a night, maybe. And that's pretty much it. I don't know. I mean, okay, the last thing I want to talk about, I guess, because I don't want this to go on too long. I want this to be as small of a freaking video as I possibly can make it, because I don't want this to take an eternity to upload. But the last thing I want to talk about is the designs of the creatures are completely perfect. Spot on. Bravo. Whoever designed these creatures, great. Now, that's not to say that the CGI is perfect, because I noticed some issues.
Yeah, it's not like super bad CGI, but it's kind of at times
noticeable.
Wah.
Like, why was the saliva in that one bit CG?
I don't know.
They could have easily made like some kind of a slime thing, but
the monsters they got pretty much down pat from the books, and
perfect.
They even went the extra mile for part of the credits too.
That was my favorite part. Okay, the credits start rolling and they start doing like little animations with the covers. Well, for some of the books. Oh, it was perfect. I loved it. I loved it so much. I wanted to stay, and I wanted to see like cartoons based on the covers.
Honestly, even if you're the type of person that you like reading Goosebumps, but for some reason or another you don't feel like this movie lived up to it, at the very least, that little end credits bit was like for you, basically. Yeah. It was like, we tried to put some love into this thing and tried to respect the material, and this, here you go.
Now, okay, so I love this movie because I'm a huge Goosebumps fan. And I think if you're a Goosebumps fan too, watch it. Even if you like anything remotely spooky, go watch the film. As a children's Halloween horror film, it gets an A+ from me. But if you, for some reason, don't know anything about Goosebumps, or if you would rather see a movie that focuses on the bigger monsters, like Slappy gets Slappy's handled perfectly in this film.
Yeah.
But if you want a film that shows the executioner from A Night in Terror Tower, or which he makes a cameo in this film, I spotted him. Or if you want a film that will give The Haunted Mask a bigger role or something, because I didn't even spot that one. But then this is not for you, because this one has maybe one or two truly iconic monsters, and the rest are just kind of not as popular books.
Just like I said, if you liked specific books, like if you're the type of person that you're definitely not too old for Goosebumps, or even if you're the type of person you never read Goosebumps, never seen the TV show, but you want to know what the fuss is about, I feel like some of this is gonna like go over your head as far as some of the poignancy of seeing the monsters and kind of getting what they're trying to do with the movie in relation to the book formula. But if you're the type of person that you're like, oh, I want to see the Haunted Mask, or I want to see like the gnomes or something, and you want them more exposed than what the movie might have to offer in less than 2 hours, watch the TV show, or just read it.
Yeah, watch the TV show. I would recommend the TV show anyway. Because it's very campy, extremely campy, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just don't go in thinking that this is like a perfect adaptation of the stuff that you've read.
No, and don't go in thinking that this is going to be the best movie ever, because it is very much, not so much a dumb movie, though that might vary with people, but it's very much a goofy, cliched,
silly kids flick.
Respectable for kids.
Yeah.
Like, there's really nothing, I mean, it might be a bit intense.
I mean, for a kids flick, I would say it's a cut above the rest. Like, God, some of the previews we got was horrible, but we're not even going to go into that. This video is already going on too long. But final thoughts. If you like Goosebumps, go watch it. If you don't know anything about Goosebumps, but you still like stuff that are spooky-ish for kids, go watch it. I would recommend this to kids. If you're even a little bit interested in Goosebumps, go watch it. I think it's worth a watch. Other than that, no, you can skip it.
Yeah, I think if you're the type of person that for some reason, I don't know how you would get this impression, but if some reason through trailers or something you thought, this is going to be a totally horror movie. No.
No.
This is like, if you're the type of person that you used to watch Hocus Pocus or Disney-esque horror movies or whatever, some super campy horror movies that were more aimed to kids or families, this is one of those.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
it's not a masterpiece by any means.
I could totally see this being played like on ABC Family or Disney Channel during Halloween.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think that's about it, unless you wanted to bring anything else up.
No.
No.
I'd say just go see the movie if you're interested. If the trailers didn't, well, I mean, the trailers weren't that great to begin with, but if after all the trailers and all the reviews and everything, you're still not interested, then you're not going to change your mind.
You're not going to change your mind. Anyway, the new official start to my new series is coming hopefully before the end of the month. We are going to try our very hardest to get it out before the end of the month. And after that, I'm going to try to announce some sort of schedule that I want to try to keep. I have a new job, so here's seeing. I'm going to just try to see what works. But anyway, see you all next time, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.